This is infrared. And we're in Gowanus, so you don't have to be. It's Tuesday, August 22nd, a little bit after 10 a.m. And it's a nice, and it's a relief, it's a nice 70 or so degrees, 72 degrees, after several days in the 90s or approaching the 90s. So, just want to show a typical morning on the Gowanus, a typical weekday summer morning on the Gowanus. This is the promenade that's open to the public, but was constructed by, and I think maintained by, Whole Foods. The Whole Foods in Gowanus, which markets itself as Whole Foods at 3rd and 3rd. 3rd Avenue and 3rd Street. The Whole Foods was built on top of a remediated environmentally polluted site. It took years to remediate, and there were those within Whole Foods at the time, before the site remediation was completed and construction could begin. There were people in Whole Foods who were skeptical that the store would actually ever rise in Brooklyn. And I think this was the first Whole Foods in Brooklyn in 2013. A yellow cab here. So the Gowanus is undergoing a multi-year, multi-decade, federally overseen Superfund cleanup. I'm not sure why they're spending so much money on cleaning it up. You can see it's perfectly clear right now. There's a semi-unmarked, which also means semi-marked, police vehicle pull over someone. They're not marked on the front or the back, just the sides. And they have regular passenger car plates. So, what's the other side of Gowanus look like? Reassuring. So, well, remember, the federal goal of the cleanup is to make the entire canal fishable and swimmable. So, I'd say not quite ready to cut the ribbon yet. Drawbridge. So there in the distance is Brooklyn's only super tall building, higher than 1,000 feet tall, and you can see towering above the rest. And they chose a unique name for this building, the Brooklyn Tower. So this neighborhood has recently been rezoned to permit larger residential buildings of the type that we're about to see. Well, this was built before the rezoning took place. This whole complex, which is I think 360 to 365 Bond Street. And of course, the Gowanus Dredgers Canoe Club. Well, that's part of the super fun cleanup work here, is dredging the canal from deposits or of deposits that took place over 100 years ago. Oil. There was a gas manufacturing plant along here. It was industrial, and now, see, it's residential. And let's see if we can get both this already existing development and the one across the street in the same frame so we can compare heights. But as part of this, the 360, 365 Bond Street, the amenity that they provide to the community is this promenade. And the developers or the owners of this, because I think these are all rental units, they maintain it. And it's open to the public, I think, the same hours that the larger city parks are. Well, let's see. See, this names the property owner Lightstone and the property manager, and open to the public. Oh, dawn to dusk. So dawn to dusk. So no moonlight strolls along the Gowanus, at least for now. So no, dawn to dusk is a lot more restricted. And I guess it makes sense, because who wants the noise? And city parks are open typically either 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. So other activity, other cleanup related activity in the Gowanus, whatever this is. And here in the distance is the Union Street Bridge, the northernmost bridge, drawbridge, crossing the Gowanus. Because a few blocks to the north, you might be able to see a building at the very northern end of the canal. So the canal ends. This bridge, the Carroll Street Bridge, is over 100 years old. I think there's a plaque that says when it was built, and unfortunately now it's closed for, well, it's closed because it's in need of some kind of maintenance or major repair, and it's been closed for well over a year. But it is, I think, a National Historic Landmark because it is one of the last surviving examples of a retractile bridge. So the bridge, here it is, and you can see, and you could a minute ago see the opening, the canal opening. So it's retractile. The bridge actually is retracted now, and you can see the cable work below. So when this bridge is working, the entire bridge moves along cable, or powered by cables, and moves along rails to be in place and provide a bridge over Carroll Street. I don't know if the city plans to repair it and put it back into service. We just see this, oh look, another new residential building. This rising building here in the back, this did not exist only a few weeks ago. So, okay. So here's a sign. This sign is relatively new. Pending repairs. Okay. So people they're talking about it, but there's no schedule or budget. Stop and dismount here. And yes, here is the city landmark plaque. I don't know. I can't read it from here, which is an interesting characteristic for a city landmark plaque, is to be in a position that's unreadable to most pedestrians. Okay, so that was our walk along the Gowanus on a typical summer Wednesday morning, August 22nd, 2023. It's about 10:27, and from here, because we are on Carroll Street, we can just walk 3 blocks to the Carroll Street station. Maybe, yeah, 3 blocks. This is, oh, all right. So our last thing worth pointing out in this area of Gowanus is the New York City Fire Department ambulance station. They have these throughout the city where the ambulances are stored, and I don't know, maybe some light maintenance overnight. Or just park the ambulance on the street. Okay, so again, from Station 32, I wonder if there's a FDNY Station 11. About 3 blocks from the Carroll Street stop on the F and the G. This is infrared. And this is what you've been watching. Red and blue flashing lights. It must be a police ready mix truck.